I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Let's take a moment and use the words or listen to these words, feel these words, and just place our hands on our hearts and say the words, I am grateful for life. I am grateful for life. To be alive, the experience that is life, the people that I get to meet in my life. And then we can open the space. Today's whole stream topic is about the power of words, right? The fact that we're using a language right now. I'm using words right now that I technically did not create. I'm creating them in this moment, speaking them, actively. But technically, I learned to speak this language, from humanity, essentially. And there is only that many words. There's a certain set of words that there is to speak, right? And yet there is an infinite amount of things that can be talked about. And as we gain new insight, new things can be talked about, etc., etc. The point I'm trying to make ultimately is to see words, maybe all of words, as a latent space as well, where there is a potential, right? Technically, finite potential, right? And it's a little bit juxtaposition to me talking about the infinite, but there's technically a finite potential for the amount of things that we can say, right? One, because there's only so much time for us to say it, and two, because there is only so much you can talk about, right? At least as a human being. So in that context, at least to me, it means that there's only so many things I can say in my lifetime. And if I look back at the end of my life, how much of what I said can I be sure I said lovingly as opposed to not, right? And kind of echoing that truth in today's stream. It's a blessing having you friends here with me. I'm still having a little bit of a hard time setting my things up. I think that should be fine. Let me open my comments and say, I love you to every one of you friends. There we go. We have Joy. I love you. Joy, thank you for joining me. Lovazana, I love you. Lovazana, thank you, dear friend. Shannon and Nana, I love you, Shan. Thank you for joining me. Beloved Zano, love you, Zano. Kristen's here too. We love you, Kristen. Thank you, friends, for joining me, for finding yourself here. It is cold outside, like uncomfortably cold. I did yoga outside, and my little digits were straight up turning red and mildly numb. You can still kind of see the redness, like that slow motion gateway process. Of course, she's here. I love you, Jules. Thank you for joining us too, dear friend. You just want to be in bed with Melty because it's cold. Yes. Oh, we in the bedroom today. It's true. It is true. Like this, like I'm okay with the cold. I'm just not okay with the wind, right? Because it's like not only cold outside, it's also like cutting through your bones kind of cold. Is that a Sam I see? I love you, Sam. Thank you for joining me. At least you know you're staying active though through staying active through your fingertips melt. Yes? I don't know exactly what that means. Uh, Maybe like you can, like the way I'm thinking of it at least, is aliveness, right? That I get to completely melt into how nice it is to be alive by feeling my little fingertips, slowing down with the coldness. It was Amazin. The farm was a blueberry farm with lots of chimkins. Nice. So nice to hear you had a good time, Zana. We were talking about you yesterday as well. Missing you. Mm, saying words like casting spells. Saying words like offering them as prayers to be offered, right? One of my favorites as well. Sending you lovin's. Good morning again, Gateway. At least, you know, also donkeys. They were very sweet. We fed them carrots. Donkeys can be pretty cute, actually, you know, at least from what I've seen. You know, most of the donkeys I've seen have been on video. Life has been flipped upside. My life, your life has been flipped upside down. Can we help flip it right side up again? Hey Shell, I love you. Thank you for joining us, friend. Hey Duck Dad, I love you. Thank you for joining us. Three little words, so simple, yet so powerful. You know, if I can say anything to you, friends, I'm happy to be able to say I love you. Tell us. Now I'm curious, Gateway. What happened? What's happening on their side of the world? How are things flipped over? I know things have been pretty brutal for me too. I've been fighting the same old demons, but I feel at least part of me is getting to win. Love you, big fella. Thank you, Brother Bear. Love is true. Yeah, hey, Benita. Joining us too. Where's my stick? There it is. I did actually bring Melita the stick. Melita joined us for yoga today. So I was like curious if she was going to join us here as well. Shell, good morning. Good morning to you, Duck Dad. I was worried about you. Hope you're well. No worry necessary, it seems. Do tell. I'm also curious. You have all of our curiosity peaked. It may be flipped right again. I left my church and job and Sunday school. Ha. I love you, Connor. Hmm. 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 I'm sorry. I'm trying to think about context, right? Like I'm thinking about the all of the possible fractals. You know, was something said? Did someone use words that you did not approve of, and then you were like, hell no, no more of whatever this was. I'm gonna GTFO, or was it a crisis of faith? Do you feel like there's something in you that doesn't resonate? Exactly. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. That's kind of what I figured. That's usually how it happens, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. We love you nonetheless. You're welcomed in this space. It sucks, especially when we feel like a certain level of connection. The job as well. Like that's so many whammies, right? That's a bunch of whammies all at the same time. Which one hurts the most? Maybe that's what I was asking. We're grateful for you too. Which one hurts the most? Does it hurt the most having to leave the church and not having that community? Does it hurt leaving your job and the instability and potential insecurity that can come with? Or the Sunday church or the Sunday school? The way I'm thinking of Sunday school, at least I might be, faulty in this thinking, but you were the one being a Sunday school teacher, teaching kids maybe. Might be wrong. We love you. You don't have to share, of course. I was fired for the first time in my life. That's even worse. Shit. That doesn't sound particularly exciting. Maybe it is, actually. If it's the first time, maybe this is a new and novel experience that you haven't had before. And for that fact, you get to grow, right, in ways that you might not have been able to before you actually went through the whole experience. Oh, oh. Gateway saying, my boss was a big player at church. Pippi, what are you growling at? What are you doing that for? I'm feeling the same kind of energies, right? Getting fired, leaving the church. Boss is a big contributor, to the church space. That does sound pretty saucy bossy. I agree, Pippi. It's very saucy bobasso. Yeah, so saucy bobasso. So sauce. I agree. Yeah. You want to sit down? You want to sit down? Chillax a little bit? You want to relax? You want to relax? You want to calm down? Got to play the kid. Got to get the kid to play group. I'll join y'all in a bit. We'll be here for you, Little Bear. I love you guys so much as we love you, Shell. Love is true 2 times. Yay! Jovan is here too. I love you, Jovan. I love you, John. I love you, John. Yeah. Using these words, very directed. If I'm gonna say words today, I'm gonna be saying words that are loving. Melty, it was snowing here. There you go, Sam. How about that? Sam was like, I'm gonna have to go Google to see if it's actually snowing in South Africa right now. And here John is, tuning me. It's snowing on his side as well. Yeah, it got cold though. It got like a frigid during yoga today. I still took my cold shower. It was ridiculously painful. I was straight up dying for a moment there. And then I get out of said cold shower and I go outside to teach yoga and it's just as cold outside. Like it felt like instead of it being, water cutting through my bones, it was the wind. And I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. But I did my yoga, gave my cues. I was happy about that nonetheless. You blew up your life? No, I don't think so. Right? Maybe just some agitation. Is Kelly here? I love you, Kelly. Thank you for joining us, fellow Miltmorian. It's always a blessing. We need to shed off our old mental constructs that are limiting us. That's why it's been so hard for everyone at this time, but it will get so much better after we've gone through it. I'm in complete agreement, Melita. Yeah, that's exactly what is happening right now, right? Like there's some stuff happening in the collective psyche. Is Joe Schmo here? I love you, Joe Schmo. I love you, dear friend. It's nice seeing your name. We are in a state of growth, right? If you don't feel like yourself right now, that's because you are changing, right? And that's not a bad thing. We need some change. Gateway, what's your new support system? How can we help? Thank you for asking, Shell. I've been trying to do the same. I've been fired before. I understand that feeling, Gateway. I have technically not been fired. Technically not been fired. You just called me Estian. Who'd that be? Who's Estian? I don't know who that is, Joe Schmo. I feel like in the infinity of words, Estian is technically one of them. Is Estian a word? Is a name a word? Because we give things names, and then that becomes a word, right? Technically. I'm thinking so at least. And it has been this process of kind of like melting who Estian used to be, Joe. I don't actually think I am that person anymore. Right? Thank you. I appreciate it, bro. It's just that name comes with all of the fractals that came with that name, right? Like all of the words that was said at Estian is attached to that name as soon as I see it, right? And then it like registers in my brain. And it's the same thing with the new name I've tried to pick for myself. I'll call you Curly Head from now on. I mean, I don't mind that one, technically. I can be Curly Head, Mr. Cheese Curl. curl. I don't know. You'll find a better place to be at. No worries. I believe this too. Thank you, Melita, for manifesting with us. All the things to feel, but the silver lining, says Jovan. It sounds like a ton of room for new opportunities. Bless. I've been fired before, and it was devastating for me at the time. But it was a blessing in disguise. I see it that way too, right? Just the amount of change, right? Like there is a lot of change coming, and that change is going to accelerate into our future as well, right? There's going to be change, and then that change is going to happen faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. So the fact that we get to experience the amount of change we get to experience right now, instead of seeing it as a bad thing, see it as practice. Be like, yeah, got fired. That's a change. Didn't expect that. And then you get to grow. And then next time, when another thing changes, maybe you get fired again. You'll be like, oh, I've been through this before. I survived. I, was actually quite okay. Maybe this is just another experience for me to have. Oh, hey, we're indoors, dude. The outside is dangerous right now, bro. It's cutting me. Mel says it's too cold out, John. It is. Dang, Gateway, that's rough. I'm hopeful that all of these changes will bring more love and beauty into your life. I'm so happy to see you, friends, manifesting these beautiful possibilities with us. I was not a good fit, lol, aka I was catching onto a lot of illegal business practices. Ooh, that seems to be what's happening right now. I feel like that's happening in a great deal of many places because I feel the possibility or the option to do things illegally is rapidly closing. As we get closer and closer to singularity, these old world ways of being is kind of falling out of style, and people are really trying to stuff their pockets as fast as they can. It never snows in South Africa here. It really doesn't. Yeah, straight up cold bullshit. Yeah. Humbling sirs. I'm not even joking. Sam, it's just crazy. No way, Gateway. That's wild. Merry Monday, Meltmorian. So much lovins all over the place. Lovins to you too, Kelly. Again, love you, friend. Boom, bada boom. Ski bop. So, did you finally see snow melt? No. No. We're still like on a little bit of the warmer side here in South Africa. I didn't get to see snow, but at least some South Africans are getting to see snow for the first time. And I'm living vicariously through them. That's the word. John, I was just listening to your cover of James Bay, Hold Back the River. So nice. Such a blessing to know that you're listening to his music. I saw your comment as well recently, and they'd be happy that you're doing that. Oh man, Gateway, that's hectic. You don't need that energy in your life anyhow. Agreed. Right? Straight up, like that, just experience of tension. Hey, Maxine is here. I love you, Maxine. Today's whole stream topic is about the power of words and how we get to say anything, right? We have infinite potential, but there's only a finite amount of things we can say. So I'll say to you, I love you. We love you. Thank you for joining us too, dear friend. In my defense, Missouri is the show me state. We're known for our skepticism. The way that I, at least in my youth, used to articulate that kind of point is pics or it didn't happen. Show me pictures or it didn't happen. Duck, it never snows here, so I'm pretty sure some peeps have tried sniffing it. Oh goodness, that's hilarious. It's like, oh wow, it's raining cocaine. It's like, no, this is ice. It's like, but it looks like, oh, you should come back to Sangha. Miss you. Thank you, Joe, for inviting our dear friend. It might just be a lot of energy. All right, Gateway sounds like the beginning of a grand new adventure, friend. This is the way. Thanks, y'all. It's been freeing. There we go. There was so much gaslighting and guilt. The only problem is church members don't stop texting me or praying for me as if I'm the problem. Yeah, that one is particularly spicy. I've also had that one most of my life, where people look at me with like a certain sense of concern and be like, I'll pray for you. I'm like, do I look like I need saving? It's like, yeah, fam. You look like you're so far away from God. I'm like, bro, here we are. God is all around you. Can't be far away from God. You just have to breathe. Receive that which you call God. Hey, Rabbit, thanks for supporting. Hope you enjoyed it. Love is true. We love you, Gateway. You are already saved. I hope you get saved from these people praying for you at this moment. All words are words, including names. It's true. It's true. Thank you for reminding me. Block them. Yeah, that might be one way. Hold up. Is the boss lying? 100%. 100% the boss is lying. What if you 1000%? Because like at least in my mind, right? The possibility for words in that whole situation is Goo here? No, I was stripping out for a second. Hey, Toasty Malosty is here though. I love you. Toast Malost. I see you, dear friend. There's Gobbledygoo. Yeah, I love you, Gob. Oh my goodness. Yes, community rules, orgasm faith. You can see them. I did that yesterday. I was trying to do some other cool stuff with the channel, but it seems I cannot do said cool stuff with the channel just yet. At least not streaming this way. This is I'm just seeing like this like super strutting pose, like, yeah, just me. I also love toast. Yeah. So we're talking about just words today. I'm happy that you could see the community rules. Did you have to like check through them before you could comment? But you already have commented, so it's not your first time. I thought they would only show up for people who show up for the first time. Yes, you have to agree to chat. Now show me some fucking respect. Damn gophers and toast, a balanced breakfast. I'm happy that I can see the comments on this side, pretty much without fail. Let me read some of the comments up top. The boss is lying to the church about the circumstances or your exit, or is he spreading it to harass you? I just see it, and I wanted to like complete that point. I see it as like an infinite potential, right? Like, oh, we had this community member, Gateway Process, and she's a beautiful person, and we know that she works for this dude who contributes a lot of financial monies to the church. So we want his approval. We want him to keep giving us his money. So we're going to be like kumbayaing around him, and then he goes, yeah, fuck that person, and then everybody goes like, oh, we'll pray for you, we'll pray for we'll be praying for you. It's like the seething rage. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like it's almost like so familiar. Like I'm not surprised, but it's still, like how is this still happening? Kind of vibes happening in my mind as well. It's so ridiculous. I really dislike the concept of birth names. I can't use mine either. Yeah. It's the way that I think of it is conditioning, right? Like I have spent a lot of time and effort and mental energy trying to uncondition myself, right? Unbrain damage myself. And every single time my family tried to brain damage me, they brain damaged me using the name Estian, right? Every single time my mom screamed at me, she screamed at me starting with Estian! Right? So there's a lot of trauma technically attached to that name for me. And then in picking a new name for yourself, it's almost like a liberation. It's like, yeah, I used to be this person. Yeah, I will still respond, if you say that name. But when it comes to what we choose to be called, what we identify as, right? That's like a big one at this point in our time. It's a certain level of power, right? Like we get to have the power to pick a name for ourselves. I'll call you Mel, but I think of you as Estian, just because it's a beautiful name and it suits you. I have no baggage with it, but I totally understand. You friends, fortunately, don't get to carry the baggage that came along with that name, But yeah, not the other way around. Losanna and Sam and Shan and Chachu and Duck and Joy and John and Kelly and Kristen and Mel and Toons and Shell and Zano and the other four here that I can't. Find your name in the comments, Melt and more. I love you, as we love you too. Dear Jovan, thank you for echoing love. And if your name is not being said right now, I love you. And you're like me? Yes. You. I love you. Specifically you. Right. And I was thinking about this today during my meditation. I was going through this narrative of if I say this to a friend, can they detect that as like, what's the word I was using? Disingenuous, right? I was like, is that disingenuous to say I love you even if I don't know who you are? For the fact that usually when we say I love you to someone, we know who that person is, we know why we love them, and then we echo that I love you. And I was like, actually, no, I don't think so, because the I love you that I'm saying towards you is a like a statement, right? That you are loved, period. And if you can receive that, it is so. right? There's no needing to earn it. I don't need to know you in order to love you, right? And that's what makes love beautiful. So yeah, you were loved. Take that, put it in your pipe and smoke it. Can't use mine either. So much love. I opened my site up for commerce last night to sell my art, but I'm grossed out by the amount of money that is lost to the middleman. Squarespace, PayPal, and taxes. Yeah. It's pretty brutal being an artist. Like they do not make it easy for us, unfortunately. And then there is like the reach as well, where if you actually want to be successful, you'll have to either have connections, people who already have access to a lot of capital, or people who have access to other people, or you'll have to do advertising, adding even more of the money you could potentially earn, for the hope of finding more clients. It is a whole other fractal. I believe in you, beloved Gateway. You were strong enough. Continue making your art, right? Even if there's no financial incentive. I know the name bothers you, brother, but it's a beautiful name. And I think it still holds some poetry to it. Bless. I'm not angry, of course, right? Like my parents, even my like IRL, like the people I know in real life, right? They call me Estian as well. And yeah, I don't have a problem with it necessarily, but it's an extreme thing, right? Like at the end of my life, who am I? Right? What word will people use to describe me? Will they use Estian or will they use Meld? And in my mind, I would rather be called Meld than Estian. The fact that your friends know me at all and are willing to share love with me and using my name is appreciated nonetheless. Mel, we have to call people something. Birth names, we have to call people something. Birth names are helpful. You can always change it later. So many peeps do. Agreed. Merly Meld with the curly pelt. John, I love you too, Meld, and the whole Meld fam jam. Eternally grateful for this community. You leave my heart full and my spirit high. Prime example of how small words, yeah, there it is, can feel, how small words can feel in the face of something so huge. What a beautiful comment that is, Kelly. Blessings to you, dear friend. We do use words in this space, right? This space was built on words, technically. The primary word, the cornerstone, right, being love. And then everything else, bleeds out of that love, as a word. I have a tough time being able to fully describe my mental states with words. It's taken a long time to scratch the surface. And I don't think you need to, Zano. In fact, in today's theme, I feel in trying to describe some things with words, you end up limiting them, right? You might create clarity for someone else, which might be a good thing, but you might create clarity for someone else in trying to describe your mental state. And then they might conclude that they understand, right? I feel Zano being like, yeah, right? They don't understand. Nobody will understand, Zano. We can't understand what's happening inside of your mind. You can try and like share that with us, and we will echo, love back at you and celebrate you for the person that you are. But people won't understand, no matter how good you get at wording. I feel honestly we're going to probably have to develop some sort of new language or way of articulating to one another. I look forward to it. Hopefully it's not that far away. If you're hearing these words, it means I love you. Thank you for joining me. Even for a moment, go and say I love you to someone else. Do it to a stranger. See how their face goes like, the fuck? I am loved. Why? Why did that person say I love you? Why? They could say anything to me. They could say, hey, dude, I hope you step in a wet spot with your socks. No, they didn't say that to me. They said, I love you. Why would they do that? What's happening in their mind? What's happening in their lives? Right? Create some confusion even. Make people shocked with how loving you can be. How well you can use your words, if you will. I'll stick with Melty from now on. I didn't catch the notice that we're done with our Christian names. I respectfully apologize. No apologies necessary, Brother Bear. Really, there's no needed. It's just it is attention to me, right? It's like I honestly don't feel like I'm that person, right? Even though technically I am, but when you say Estienne to me, I'm like, who are you talking about? Like that's how it feels in my on my being. It's like, yes, I know who you're talking about, but who are you talking about? Right? Technically, who are you talking about? Do you know who that person was? I'm trying to forget that person, touching on yesterday's stream topic. That Estienne has been many things, and most of those things have been angry, sad, depressed, lonely, nihilistic, aggressive, hateful, petty, and I feel Melt has less of that baggage attached to it, right? So at least that's where my mind goes. Fuck the man, just don't get caught. Oh, Toasty, loves to you, bro. It's nice having you. Gateway, it's a tough hit to take. I hope you get to see the bright side of this trial. I feel it's just a matter of time, right? Like the change we seek is going to take some time. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 40 years, right? But it will happen. It will happen, and I feel like that's vague enough to mean whatever it means to you. And we had this conversation a few weeks ago. We were talking about what the future of abundance means, right? Where a lot of people believe that abundance is supposed to mean luxury. That if you're abundant, that means you get to live in luxury. Where I don't think that's the way it should be, right? Technically, by all metrics, we already live in luxury. If you have a blanket, just a blanket, only, if the only thing you have is a blanket, you are literally living in a state of luxury in comparison to a cave person, 100,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, right? Like that's the level of understanding we have to have on a base level that we are already technically living in luxury. And then secondly, the future of abundance that we're heading into, if it's not luxury, what is it going to be? And in my mind, I believe it's going to be opportunity, right? So you, just to like echo Gateway Process because we're honoring her in today's stream, you are pushing the skill set of being a creative person, of being able to work with your hands and make things, right? Taking something from the state of non-existence to existence, and then training yourself, mind, body, and soul, to actually be able to do that, right? And that can't be taken from you. Your job can be taken from you, sure. Your community at church can be taken from you, but that will never be able to be taken from you, no matter if there's an AI revolution, no matter if there's an economic collapse, that is going to remain. And I believe that skill, being able to do that stuff, is what's going to be valuable to us in the future. So I'll see you there, Gateway. Keep trucking forward. Keep trucking. Don't stop. The story is not over. Melty tackles you with bear hug and a snack and a single joint. I love you, friends. We love you too, Maxine. I love that imagery. Getting tackled, laying on the ground, getting a cookie shoved in my face, and then having a joint. Am I happy? Am I confused? And I'm blessed. So blessed. If you have proof that there was shenanigans happening, you should report it to the appropriate investigatory investigatory. I'm gonna assume that I said it correctly. Tory body gateway. Yeah, we need less corruption. Like this world will be a lot better if people can stop getting away with corrupt acts, because there's so much of it right now. At our country, primarily, the single thing wrecking us the most is corruption, the racketeering. So much freaking, under the table, bribery and stuff happening. It's ridiculous. As far as the church, boss man could be confronted in public with said proof, and reminded of how Jesus thinks of crooked business people. Technically, and this is now, where the spiciness comes in, at least from my side. Technically, Jesus was cool with crooked people. He did tell them to abandon their crooked ways, but he would chill with them. He would go and chill with them. Be like, yeah, I'll wash your feet, bro. You're an asshole? Fine. Oh, sit down. I'll wash your feet for you. Right? And that's like, I really do admire that kind of energy. But yeah, things need to change. God is all around me. Amen. There we go. So much love to you. I don't get offended when people say they'll pray for me. Prayers are always welcome. I don't get offended. I usually thank them. I just have the attached feeling of like, why not just do it kind of vibe, right? If you want to pray for me, pray for me. Just do it, right? You telling me you're going to pray for me, at least in my mind, is sinful, right? Like, aren't you sinning right now? Isn't there like some pride in there somewhere, being like, welcome the divine sees into my soul and knows my heart better than anyone. Yes, so I trust I'm going the right way. That's such a beautiful comment. The divine sees into your soul and knows your heart better than anyone, right? And that's where our relationship with God kind of lies, right? And I'm doing parentheses because in saying the word God, I am reducing with a word an infinite concept. Coming back to the word topic, it's a relationship with yourself in my mind, right? The relationship you have with God is the relationship you have with yourself. If you live in a state of self-hatred, you should ask yourself, you think God hates you? Right? No. And then why do you? Why do you do that? Why do you use these words towards yourself when you know that that's not true? I also love toast, so much love. Dang, goobers and toast, the balanced breakfast. Have you been, buddy? Sending love. Thank you for asking, dude. I'll respect you. Thank you. Nice. I'm great, but most return to work. I'm great, but most return to work. Love you all. Must, I'm guessing, return to work. Love you, Gab. Blessings to you in your workspace. Seeing Gab moving a mouse, pressing buttons. I don't actually know what Gab does. I don't think it matters. Gab is Gab. Lovingly so. Gateway, maybe this is an opportunity to take your message to a new collection of people who need to hear it. There we go. Joe with a beautiful perspective as well. Beautiful words. I completely agree, Brother Bear. Some high quality OG homies. I at work landscaping the earth. Lurking. Just wanted to say I'm praying for you all. Thank you, Connor. We're praying for you too, dude. Let Connor be happy, joyous, and full. I see mountains in a distance when I close my eyes. It may seem strange, but I consider Michelle to be my dad name and Shelly the name I want friends to call me because my mom said nicknames were stupid. Yeah, I'll show you, Mom. So the nicknames I did have were Twerp and Super Duper Pigpen. I prefer Shell. I like Shell as well. It's a beautiful name. I want to change my name to John Arthur or a stage name. Arthur was my grandfather's name on my mom's side. John Arthur. Like one, I like it, dude. John Arthur. It's like John Jock. I had a friend called John Jock. Technically, on a weird tangent, my real name isn't even Estian. It is Christian Stefan. One name. Christian Stefan. Like John Jock or John Pierre. Technically, my name is Christian Stefan, right? But I haven't been called that one because it's like my earned name, like me being the firstborn. My dad is also a Christian Stefan. Technically, he's Christian Stefanus, and his dad before him was Christian Stefan or something like that. And now I'm Christian Stefan. Exactly. Mel, I told my artist name. I hold my artist name as the refined version. I have triggers with my name as well because of my mom screaming at me. Instant anxiety attack. Yeah. My mom was also a screamer, unfortunately. Like it was a way for her to get through to my crazy child mind, you know? Like I couldn't register that I needed to listen if she wasn't screaming, right? So I'm taking a little bit of responsibility on myself, you know, for her screaming when I was a child because I was a difficult child to deal with, you know, and I acknowledge that. I do believe I'm better, you know. I haven't been screamed at in a very long time, fortunately. So it's just like melting away that past as well. Dead, not dad. Did I miss something? My dead name. Oh, my dead name. Yeah, exactly. It's not disingenuous. Loving others, being kind to others is the divine love in action. Agreed. Right? It's the same thing for me. No, Mel. The taking responsibility. I do take responsibility, Zano, because you see, like you should have seen me, right? I did not use these things. I did not use them. I did not have these earsies. I couldn't. Like I did assume that I was more intelligent than my family, right? Like even as a 4-year old, my parents were like, "Don't do this, no doing of this," and I was like, "But doing this is fun, right? Clearly, you don't know what you're talking about. I do this, and then I have fun, and now you want to tell me not to." And I would build bombs, like I would, and I know I'm not saying do this. I would make fires, and then find glass bottles with like usually they were like alcohol bottles that was like laying in the alley, you know. And I in my mind, you know, that was just like me scoring abundance. I was like sick bottles. Meanwhile, people were drinking in that, you know, space. But I never had that fear in my mind. And then I would fill those bottles, glass bottles, with like metal caps with water, and then I would put them inside that fire, and then I would put a lot of distance between me and that fire, and I would just watch intently until it goes and there was fire and sticks and probably glass flying in every single direction, and it was exhilarating. And my parents hated that I did that. They would lose their minds, and I would like so I understand why I got screamed at, right? Like I understand it fully. I'm not saying that it was right from me or from them. I'm just saying that there is a certain level of, yeah, okay. Uh-huh, yeah. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Love has so much forms and dimensions. People tend to forget or not realize all the multitudes of it. Beautifully said. Yet, we all yearn for those multiple versions of love, not even realizing what we're even yearning for. So beautifully said. While being stuck in tradition that taught us love is something material and short sighted, something physical, right? Like a lot of us believe that love should be something physical, something that can only be transmitted by touch, right? That you're only loved if you're getting hugged or kissed or being sexed. No. Love is a state of being, right? You can be in love. And you don't have to be in love with someone. You can just be in love, right? And love is true. This experience arises from love. Humanity would not have survived over the years if not for love. Your parents wouldn't have raised you, wouldn't have fed you, or a family member, or even, you know, like some home care. Even if the people who took care of you only loved the money they could get from raising you, there was still love as a part of the equation for you to get to this moment right now. And then you had to love yourself to continue being as yourself, to find yourself in this moment right now. You are already in love. You just have to remember that. Use the right words to remind yourself, right? Joy is my middle name. It's what my mom calls me. You like that one? I like Joy. I personally do. But do let us know if that's what you prefer to be called. When saying, I'm praying for you, I always want to tell them, please don't. Just don't seem like there are so many more important things to pray about than my personal experience, my 2 cents. That's a good that's a good perspective, Joshmo. Right? For me, it's also a sense of disbelief that comes along with it as well. Where, if you tell me you're gonna pray for me and you don't, now I'm pissed off, right? Like I'm gonna be laying in bed waiting for you to pray for me and there's no prayer, and I'm like, bruh, you fucking lie about that? Why would you lie about praying for me, right? And I do believe most of the people who said they're gonna pray for me were lying, like fucking lying. And I completely agree. The other perspective of like, bro, how about you pray for people dying, without food right now? How about you pray for people who don't have running water? How about you pray for people who don't have, healthcare? How about you pray for those people, Like I'm doing okay, like other people need more prayer than I do right now. I thought your middle name was Noel. That would be interesting. Mm, because I'm praying for you is code for I think there's something wrong with you. There we go. And we all picked up on that and react the way we should with hostility. Fuck those people. Yeah, that's like the primary, perspective. It's like, oh, I'm so broken, like I'm so lost that you're gonna pray for me. Thank you. Oh well. Oh, I'm feeling so loved. I'm not a fan of mine, Joy. It's K. K. That does sound almost, and I'm not trying to make it even worse, of course, Maxine. But it sounds dismissive, right? At least that's the way that I'm seeing it right now. We do indeed use words. We do. Using words right now, speaking them and saying stuff. I didn't even tell her. She just figured it out and outed me to everyone else. Joy Beef is a witch. Get the scales in the top. That's perfect. That's Sam. I remember the conversation. My mom loves Christmas, and I hate my middle name. Create some confusion of the love that you're giving to others. Amazing advice. Yeah, because some people, at least most people, I believe, have seen love as a reward for being good enough, right? That if you were pretty enough, or you were loving enough towards me, or you said the right combination of words to me, then you would be worthy of me saying, I love you, right? That's how, in many people's minds, that word or those 3 words work. When you can say those words to a stranger, and they will have just as much impact. In fact, they might even have more impact, right? Like that's the joke. And you will confuse some people. They'll be shocked even, and like I've kind of like take a certain level of pride. Is it pride? Uh, Solace, giddy, like childlike joy in kind of like just like sending people love that way. That's a special kind of evil melty. The wetsuit on rocks feels extremely satanic. Also stepping on the wet socks. The wetsuit on socks. I'm not exactly sure about that fractal, but yeah, it can be pretty brutal. Joe Bot sending lovins to her again. Wishing mischief on the mind like a steel trap, Joe. I didn't remember the conversation even happened just till now. I'm running around the house doing stuff. Joey was a witch. What did I miss? I feel probably, at least by the ancient standards, every single one of us are witches. Right? We are magicking right now. I see a beautiful future for all of humanity. A future where love is true. A future where people wake up in the morning excited to go and experience what this world holds. Right? That's what I see for our future. That's witchcraft. We just witchcraft. Congratulations. We use words to make a better future. Sam, my mind is more like a bowl of spaghetti. It just soaks up a lot of information. Hopefully, it keeps all the good stuff. All of that tasty pasta sauce. Stop it. My mind would have been like, what are meatballs in this scenario? What is the pasta sauce made of? You know, is there a difference between the noodles and the pasta sauce and the meatballs? Or all of them words? Or some of them bigger words? Stop doing that. Stop it, please. Please stop it. So I'm down in the dumps about the city again. I complied over the last 3 weeks, cleaning up my yard, finishing yesterday. I'm sure they will be pleased, but I decimated my backyard's ecosystem. Brother Bear, I'm proud of you for doing that work. You know, instead of thinking about the ecosystem, I'm honoring you for going through that whole process, knowing that you're going to feel the way you're feeling right now and still kind of like doing it. That is impressive. That is something to be proud of. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You are good. I know some things sometimes, Lois. Yes, you do. All the weeds and flowers were providing shelter for the bunnies and food for the birds, bees, and others. Ah, why can't people ignore things outside their own home? Who does this benefit? It's aesthetics. People in their aesthetics, right? People that are so shallow that they have to finagle, you know. You're gonna bring our property value down with your yard not being pristine like ours. It's like, bruh, have you considered? Like, let's just think about this for a second. It doesn't fucking matter. 100,000 years from now, there will be no yard. 1 million years from now. Let's fast forward even more. Let's do 6 billion years from now. The sun will have lost so much mass that the mass keeping it as tight as it is right now will have dissipated and it will literally start to expand, consuming the entire earth, melting everything in its path. And you want to complain about my yard? You want to use your words to fuck with me? We should grow food gardens, food forests. That's the word. We should grow food forests in our yards instead of chopping things down, hurting our ecosystems. I saw a golden finch that ate every morning from their plants. The bunnies not having a place to hide from aerial predators. Love is true, brother Duck Dad. Still, right? You wouldn't have all of these feelings if you didn't love your space and the creatures that live there as well. Duck Dad, I really have a hard time cleaning the property when it finally starts flourishing. It's a dumb requirement of superficial humans. There we go. You said superficial. I said shallow. Yeah. It's a certain level of, I think at least, dissatisfaction of the self. Like if you're not happy with yourself, it makes it easier for you to try and correct other things outside of that self, including other people's yards. Oh, my back is getting taxed. Joe, exactly. All the fuckboards behind me have fences and are hundreds of feet away. Fucking boomers, man. They don't give a shit about the earth. They will soon leave. Yeah, they really don't, right? The earth is just something to be dominated to them, something that needs to be uh, tending to their whims, right? Like I imagine it like they see the earth as a slave, something to be dominated. That's the word. We bond with life forms in our ecosystems and they become reliant upon our participation and protection. That was our purpose right from the start, even. And then one day we walk up and destroy the neighborhood, and those connections feel lost because they are, those little critters have to go find somewhere else to be because their ecosystem got taken from them. Duck, I feel you completely. We love you, Brother Bear. We see your heart. Your spirit is pure. Keeping a French lawn or not should be our decision. I'm angry for you. All of us are. Joe, I was just gifted a feather from a golden finch yesterday while I was tearing out its face. It came and visited me again this morning. I feel like I let it down. Hopefully it still finds a reason to stay. Maybe there's still space. Me ripping up and removing plastic weed barriers from the last lawnmowers. Plastic weed barriers. I didn't even know those existed. Duck Dad, it gets more and more difficult as we grow to respect this life and start to utilize our higher version. The joy comes and also the regrets come. It's like moral evolution. and it's not easy, especially if things aren't happening in tandem, right? Because it makes you feel lonely. Like instead of feeling like there's a certain level of resonance with the people around you, you feel wrong because everybody else is doing what they think is right. I know some things sometimes myself. Love is true. Doug, it does hurt, but keep your chin up. You're still providing for them when others don't. Your gentleness matters. And wildlife is crazy, resilient too. There we go. They kick back and adapt. Exactly. Swampy Joe. Jovan, exactly this. The effort and love you put forth will have a long lasting effect on the lives that you helped while they were close to you. Agreed. Right? The beauty that was shared continues. That cannot be taken away in the same way. I know they're tough. It's not a save them all guy, but the straight removal of their spot in one day makes me feel gross. Yeah, especially since you were the one doing it, right? It's like there's nobody else to blame. It was all you, right? So there's no fingers to point, but we can still point the fingers at we live in a society. We live in a society. 18th century garden design in France specifically started to become more open and include less hedges and such. The trend spread to England and then to the States. The flat yard, the yard that is like just grass, was literally a flex of super rich people where they were like, yeah, I have all of this land. And instead of cultivating it with something that like grows food for people, I am going to expend resources, water, manpower to cut the grass and the space just to have grass, you know. That's how cool I am, you know. And now we still perpetuate. Like I think one of the largest crops, right, in the world is lawn grass when it comes to water usage. Isn't that concerning? One of the largest crops in the world is lawn grass. Lawn grass. Let's just take that one and let it sink in, you know, and then really ask ourselves, what the fuck are we doing? Let's grow food forests. Just imagine how beautiful it would be if you have like a small little nook for you to walk through to get to your home. And then in front of every yard is a massive food forest, you know, papaya trees, banana trees, you know, berry bushes growing, you know, like spinach growing on the ground. Like, and if there's hungry people, there will be more than enough food, you know. If you need some, pick some. Swampy Joe. I did plant 100 sunflowers yesterday, and when they get bunny proof size, I'll be planting them back there. Food for the burbs. Love is true. You were a child learning how to emotion. No offense to Mama Melt was supposed to model how to use them for you. I feel Mama Melt struggled a lot with me, unfortunately. She did, unfortunately, have postpartum depression, I believe. I might have butchered that. Like, she was not happy. Like, I was too big. At least they told her that. Might have been a lie as well. But I was too big to be born through normal labor. So I was a C-section baby. So my mom didn't get to give birth to me the way that a mom might be supposed to, right? And I know the complications and the health risks. I'm not I'm not saying I'm an authority on any of this. I'm just thinking about the connection, the oxytocin thing, right? Like my mom came out of a haze, right, back into this world, and then was given me as a baby, right? That is like a certain level of disconnect. And then I was a difficult child on top of that, right? So I feel like my mom really did struggle, not only with me, but with losing her life, you know, as a person who was independent and free, even though she had a husband. Having a child changes things, right? And you might not necessarily know just how much it will change things until you are kind of faced with that fractal. And then, even though I agree that it's not an excuse to not be a good parent, I understand. And I love her. I love her so much. My mom is one of my biggest role models, nonetheless, right? She has been one of the biggest teachers of compassion and consideration in my life. Same Melty. Parents aren't normally prepared to handle a child of ADHD. There it is. I didn't have the capacity to listen when my brain made me feel I was liquid caffeine. You literally can't stop yourself. Yeah, it's not even like you're doing it on purpose. It's just what is happening in this moment, right? It's like this. Like I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm not painstakingly going, yeah, now I'm gonna put this finger here and then I'm gonna switch this and then I'm gonna like I don't have to think about it. It's happening, you know. The ADHD does it for me. And as a child, instead of it just being my hand that I can kind of like limit that experience to, it's just all of you. Like your whole being is the insanity. Fight the good fight, brother, moment by moment. Sam, but Hank Hills hates the French. He would never have a lot about them. French is our best friend. Yeah, France is our best friend. Yo, Hank says that he hates Khan, but he gets an engraved mug like everyone else, doesn't he? Like this is straight going over my head. My cousin Heino on the family farm used to blow up literally everything. He was a handful. He became an airplane engineer. Not surprised. Not even remotely surprised. Right? Like there's a certain level of fascination with explosives and children. It's like a magic, right? It's like I can confine a liquid to a container and then heat it up, and then that builds pressure, and then that pressure causes an explosion. Neat. That's cool. And that's a certain level of understanding that you cannot be taught or cannot be taken from you. No, it just honestly sounds like a part of neglect because you were bored and wanted attention. That is what all kids do. Yeah. Like I have articulated this to myself as well, that my family gave me a lot of space, right? My parents really like doing their own things, like all people do, technically, right? And I feel there's a certain level of sacrifice that has to come with having a child that I don't know if they were ready to do just yet. Maybe they were. Maybe they didn't realize how much they would have to sacrifice, especially if a child like myself. But I became who I am as a result of it, so I don't think I'm at liberty to complain necessarily. You can only be in love with yourself. There we go. I, in part, actually do agree with that, right? Because the person you're falling in love with is but a reflection of yourself, right? That you're loving. Duckling only listens when screamed at. There it is. It's awful. However, I have some success recently with saying out loud, Milani, I'm using my serious voice. You are not in trouble yet. We don't want to tell, right? She has started to say no and actually lets me de-escalate. Tiny progress. That's good, Brother Bear, right? Communicating the thing instead of just going straight to the extreme. I'm happy that you're echoing, right? Not happy that that's the scenario, right? That that's the case scenario, but me saying that that's kind of how it was for me, and then seeing your little child, kind of being in the same state of being, patterns repeating, right? And us trying to melt them. My fam was not emotional in hardly any way at all. Very few people on my tribe even showed me sorrow during a funeral. I was conditioned to be stoic and become a calculated human before I knew love. Same. I learned how to move through the world before I learned to experience it. I'm resonating a lot with that, right? Like, love was something I discovered only truly when I was, I think, like 19, when I started taking psychedelics, and I'm not saying that's the only way to get to that space, but I was conditioned in the same way where I wasn't supposed to cry, right? I wasn't supposed to be emotional. I wasn't supposed to react a certain way. And it made me very, in my mind, evil, right? Because I was capable of weathering the nonsense, right? And because of that capacity, that capability, I felt very dangerous, right? And that feeling of being dangerous made me want to prove it almost, right? Like created like a certain evil spirit in me to try and survive, at least in my mind, the way I'm thinking about it right now. And then I took psychedelics for the first time, and I was overwhelmed with what I believe love is. 1111, 71% on my battery, 17. Like it's just went to 12, but yeah, more synchronicity. right? Where I was overwhelmed with this experience of love. I was like literally, I was like pinned. Like imagine what it's like to get pinned, right? Like getting straight up pushed down by this wave of love. I couldn't escape it, right? There was no place for me to go where that love wouldn't be. And as soon as I noticed that as a possibility, it completely changed my entire life. It changed the way that I show up in the world. And that's why I so desperately want other people to try it as well, even though I know it's not that easy. I love the love also includes consistency in growing a person. If you choose to have a baby, it's your responsibility. Agreed. Swampy Joe, different sides of the coin, everything was massive, explosive, emotional outbursts. It wasn't great, and it isn't still. I'm working on stoicism. It's not easy. Work on it, right? Work on the part of stoicism that talks about your thoughts, right? And the way you react and your virtues. I feel like those are the good parts of stoicism. Focus less on the parts of stoicism that encourages you to not feel things, right? Because there is a certain level of stoicism that goes into being like a stone, right? To be hard like rock. And I don't know if that's good. Fortunately, rock can melt, all right? That we call that lava. Be lava, all right? Be hard, be warm, be powerful, but also allow yourself that state of flow. My middle name is Ryan. My brother name is Ryan. My mom was lazy. My middle name is Ali. That is beautiful, actually. I said on the narrative that my whole name came from a straight travel bag. Ali. Jovan Ali. I like that. It's still beautiful. It is a strange way to learn about happiness. I can remember being embarrassed about the kids my age were so immature and silly for running and screaming and crying. Same. It just wasn't normal to me. Yeah. I thought of myself as more intelligent than them. I was like, yeah, you are reacting emotionally. How about you try applying logic? Me as a 6 year old being like, have you tried logic? Have you tried thinking about things? Does your name mean something in another language? Yeah. The difference between conditional love and unconditional love. Yeah. Joe Bart, that name sounds beautiful. I'm happy that you're resonating with it as well. I was almost K. There we go. I was named for my grandma's parental grandma's name is Kay, but everyone called her Kitty. So I was almost Kitty Ann. That is kind of cute, actually. Thanks, Mumsy, for realizing the challenges that would have presented. That's true. Kelly is also nice, at least. Seems like it rolls off the tongue with a poetic flow. Ali, I agree. I have the headcanon of an unsuspecting, underperforming weatherman getting sucked into the past and being hailed as a wizard for his ability to predict weather patterns. Maybe I'll get around to it. That does sound cute. Like I'm thinking about how does he get sucked into the past? Like portal opens up next to him, some sort of angel, is it aliens? Did he figure out the technology in his basement? Like I want plot. Give me plots. Lol, nah. My mom just really wanted to be original. My sister's name is Shayana. Shayana. Shayana Louise. And my brother is Yura Blayak. Yura Blake. That is interesting. I like the joke, but I do like the flow of my first and middle name. Both of them are beautiful. I don't think I've met a single person called Jovan, so you got that going. Sam, time traveling weatherman, wizard tales sound pretty awesome. Agreed. I also vote for this. I went to see the menopausal doctor today, and she gave me a prescription for hormone replacement therapy, but it's out of stock from the manufacturer. That's ridiculous. I've been thinking about you films. Cassiopeia Dwarf. I watched a whole video about a woman who was doing a podcast. I think he's called Diary of the CEO, and she was talking about perimenopause, and menopause and how misunderstood it is in the collective human consciousness. So I want to put in my notice and let you know that I'm sorry for not being even more compassionate and understanding of what you're going through right now. That being said, I believe in you and I know you'll get through this and you'll come out of it feeling even better. at the other side. Kay Kelly is my grandma's middle name as well. She passed it down to my mom and then to me. Watch me and Kelly are related. That would be hilarious. Joe, about your mom definitely like playing Scrabble. So much love. Films. Are you me? Two different pharmacies in town told me the same shit for mine. That's ridiculous. Like I feel like these things should be available, right? Because it's literally life-changing medication. Oh, excuse me. That being said, I don't know if you saw that link I sent you. You still have to do all of the lifestyle changes, right? Meditation, massive, apparently. Fasting, massive, apparently, if you're going through menopause. Exercise, massive, if you're going through menopause. And then your diet as well. You know, all of those things do contribute to your hormones. And then if you're going to add an exogenous hormone, if you don't do those other things, the hormone might not actually work properly. I'm mouse brown naturally. It turns red in the sun. The color you'll see in the Discord is henna for the hair. Say, judge you. I feel the sentiment. It resonates heavily. I grew up expecting to be quiet. Parents would send us to the other room when company came. I spent time with critters rather than other kids. That's pretty relatable on my side as well. Animals are less judgmental. Seeing kids grow into social norms was a weird experience. Having our parents just expect us to get along with other kids, you know, like it's the way it's supposed to be, was the weird thing for me. A quick Googling says the manufacturer is having a hard time meeting demand for the medicine. I wonder why. Like, haven't we perfected manufacturing a while ago now? It's like the Industrial Revolution was like 100 years ago, wasn't it? Tiger, the pharmacy told me to go back to the doctor to get a different prescription that is available. I can't get back in to see her for 9 days. Meanwhile, I'm suffering. That's ridiculous. Exercise, food choices, fasting, meditation. Apparently, those are the best ones. It's another one as well. Negative self-talk apparently also makes a big difference with like hormonal balances. For the meanwhile, right? Not saying that that's all you have to do, but for the meanwhile, if you're going to have to wait, try those things. Also, this shortage lasts until late 23, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Isn't it late 23 right now, being like half of it? Gateway. It was my beloved grandma's middle name. I'm very fond of it. So much love. Films, yeah. They want me to have the brand name patches, not the knockoff, in order for me to pay out of pocket, of course. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I feel when my patch starts, I can feel when my patch starts to run low. Hormones play a massive role, you know, with the way we feel day to day. I can speak with animals now, so I get that. I got that going from me. Love is true. Films, if you can, go get yourself some maca powder capsules, sesame seeds, and flax. It helped me so much with the mood and fatigue. Good food choices. Thank you, Maxine, for echoing that wisdom. Grass holes. Been ruining this world for a long time. Grass holes. Oh, just in case you don't know, the Mark Cuban Pharmacy. Yes, there we go. Carries HRT. Celebrating Mark Cuban. Even though he is a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever, he is at least trying to help humanity, right? By making medication more affordable. Celebrate, celebrate. If you haven't checked that out, see if yours is in the list. Yeah. So I can't remember what it's called. Hey, Google, what is Mark Cuban's pharmacy called? I don't understand. Liar. Uh, it's Cost Plus Drugs. That's the website's name. Cost Plus Drugs. And then whatever, you know, medication, and this is whatever medication you're using. I think it's only in America right now, but whatever medication you're using, if there is a cheaper option available, the exact same medication, Costs Plus Drugs, you know, will be able to give you that. Yeah, celebrating Mark Cuban even more. What a gangster. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I wish more rich people would do with their money. Like, if you can make a difference like that, please, rich people, try and help. Oh, fuck it. Like, people are struggling out here. You know, try. Casapia Films, gosh, hang in there, friend. I know it's been a wild ride trying to get help you need, but it's on the way. Probably in more than one way, too. Less. Thank you, Jovan, for echoing that sentiment. To be 100% honest with you, I don't even need everyone to have a food forest. Yeah, Like we don't, like it takes time. I just wish we would start right now. And it costs some money as well to get the actual plants at the moment, but there is a possibility. We need plants, there we go, for native pollinators to feed and thrive. No pollinators, no food. Agreed. Sam feels like I've slipped into another dimension. Mark Cuban Pharmacy. Turns out I just stopped paying attention to the wild ride that is America. You didn't know about that? Yeah, it's cost plus drugs. So basically, the precipice or the principle that he's trying to push in is like he's going to give you the drugs for the cost that they are plus shipping, and that's what you pay for. And like they show you the difference between what they'll charge you at the pharmacy or at the hospital versus what the medication actually costs, and they give it to you at the price. You should buy a huge bag of bird seeds and just walk around, casting it out in the open spaces around town. Fight back against the city effectively instead from behind of the desk of the courtroom. Yeah. Malicious compliance, right? I don't even know if that's malicious compliance. That just sounds like some, uh, I don't know what the word is. There's some sort of word that's like knocking around in my head, like guerrilla warfare, kind of like in that fractal, right? Guerrilla warfare, but you know, guerrilla seeding, maybe we can call it. I'm gonna go and guerrilla seed other people's lawns, have little flowers growing in them. I could tell you about it later, Joe. I'm in the person of getting my backyard certified as a prairie restoration project. Yeah, that sounds so sick. I'm happy that you're pushing, Brother Bear. If you know who it is that keeps hassling you, spraying the bird seed in the offender's lawn at night so they can find it in the morning, you could also scatter it by the car and hope for them to bless it. I'll get some cat litter I can send up for reinforcements. So much love. Is there some crows in the neighborhood that can try making friends with and wait until they pick on the anonymous between you and the butthead? I'm just imagining this fractal of like having like a bunch of crows and getting them to like go and pick on people. It's like, yeah, fuck that person. And the crows go and poop on their car or something. Judge you, that's such a blessing. But a curse of awareness lurks in the shadows, just like Pato Puppy's pain putting up with the people's parameters. But it's a mind like these, though, that I believe will help bridge the gap between human nature and humans and nature. That's so beautiful. Always with the wisdom, Zhao. Thank you for echoing. I like being a bridge. I, on one hand, can embrace and emphasize with the emotional onslaught, and at times I can step outside of the fractal and logically lead myself to a pragmatic conclusion. It took a long time to recognize the blessing. You are doing better than you know, Brother Bear. Continue to. Y'all have heard of Gorilla Go. Yeah. Guerrilla gardening. There we go. So there is a word for it. I said guerrilla seeding, right? Or something like that. Throwing native bird. I was getting so excited. I'm so happy that I got to that fractal as well. Yeah, yeah, Jovan. Yeah. Like the amount of time that this happens, where we resonate without me even knowing it, trips me out. Guerrilla tactics towards saving the ecosystem. Bless. This is the way. How do you know what I do with my spare time? I have a new hobby now. Yeah, that sounds like a fun one, even. Like you go for a walk and you plant seeds. Like it sounds like double wins. How many rainbow, gem corns, and variated morning glories I've spread into unsuspecting places. I have an artist friend in NOLA that deals with the potholes that way. I love it. Can't imagine they last long, but it makes for some wicked pics. So much bless. Tiger out there doing the good work. Jobot, my hubs and boy used to do that when it rained. We ordered big bags of natives and walked and dusted. I love that so much. I love hearing these things from so many of you. This has just brought a huge smile to my face. We're already doing it, Brother Bear. The world is going to be more abundant with little, life forms, even if they're not the way they're supposed to be. Shell. That's a brilliant use of their walks. There we go with the walk as well. I didn't know that. That inspires me to have cute money. Yeah, I'd use that some way for generic public benefits as well. Being that's the way I believe money should be used. Right? Like there is no economy without people. right? Like, do these people understand that there is no economy, there is no profit without people? And people that are happy, unfortunately, are less likely to buy more products, right? So there's a certain level of financial interest in keeping people unhappy so that they can buy more things. However, the vice versa or juxtaposition to that is happy people also make more money, right? They're harder working, they have more drive, and they're also more likely to, participate in their community events if they're actually happy. Happiness, as a metric that we're supposed to uplift all of humanity, is going to do better for the economy than anything else will. That's why I want to be abundant as well. Abundance will follow this group, of this group follows this. Abundance will follow this group if this group follows its heart. I believe that completely. Love is true, and life will reward you for your contributions. Echoing that, I believe this too, Joshua. I believe we're going to do a lot of work together, right? I feel like we're pretty scattered right now, and it makes it a little bit harder, but I can feel it. I can feel it coming closer and closer. Like this space is like the start of it. I'm literally doing my evil vanilla, casting seeds. It's just, yeah, grow flowers, grow. Yeah, grow flowers. It's like, what is that lady doing, Mom? She's planting flowers, honey. Don't look at her. She's crazy. I'm being pulled away. No. Oh, from Cat by working right now. But I'm loving this energy y'all have. We love you, Joe. You shared the moments that you could. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Please also wear flowers in your hair, Joe. Yeah, 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 yeah. You have to go for the full outfit. I should just get you now, one of my psychedelic flower shirts. So you can like be dressed in flowers, have flowers in your hair, have flower seeds in your pockets. Just seeding. Spread the seeds. Skipping the flower girl at the wedding while I spread the seeds. Please also wear flowers. We're in the name of Mama Gaia, Yang Gang, exactly. We all share the same mom, ultimately, the same substance. Our bodies are literally made up of the crust of our earth. I'll wear a sundress and carry a boombox, playing tiptoe, tiptoe through the tulips. That's such a creepy one. I love it. Melty, I can feel it too. It's already happening, Brother Bear. Like we have put into motion something that cannot be stopped now. Right? Like literally, our impact will be felt. I believe it already is. Like I like look at world events sometimes and I make conclusions, even if they might be false. I'm like, interesting how this is happening now. Interesting. I sent you a video in Discord, Melty. Check it out when you get a chance. I did see it. I have been putting it off, Joy. I'll go and check it out tonight. You did mention it will melt my brain. I haven't been ready for my brain getting melted just yet. If I ever get married, Jaju, it'll be in the woods, and so will you, with a ghillie suit and a bag of seed bombs. Sasquatch theme. I love that. Thank you all for being in my life. Each of you is special and loved, and I hope your day is absolutely spectacular because you deserve the best. Love, 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 love. Thank you for using your words, Kristen, to send love to all of us. Will Bigfoot roar as you guys go down the aisle? Love is true. Let's see. Let's see what card we get today. I have chills right now. This morning has been very encouraging. Makes me happy. Right? I'm feeling warmth. I'm feeling synchronicity with you friends. It's beautiful. Everyone showed up to the wedding. No one can find jumping. He just morphs out of a tree. He is blended in with watching everyone in his ghillie suit. Someone saying ring bear? We will definitely need a ring bear. Not a ring bearer, just a straight up ring bear. We haven't pulled this card in a while. It's not exactly purple, unfortunately, but it is very green. There is like some purple at the bottom of it, where those little whales are swimming in those DNA spirals. There's some dolphins as well. Healing the heart. This is one of my favorite cards as well, especially with the way we've been talking today. The theme, the underlying theme of what we've been communicating. Even though we were talking about our words, You friends have been using words to talk about a better future for all of us. Jovan, I would be honored to wear a Sasquatch suit and sundress to your wedding. It's green. It is green. Guerrilla gardening. Some people in New York throw seed bombs from bikes. It's happening, friends. We're going to save the world. How? By healing our heart. Healing the heart. Card number 9. The spirit of place and healing. I did pull it upside down. Ooh, I'm getting cold out. I'm planning on it. Sacred geometry, give me some time. A change of location is suggested, right? If you're in your home right now, stuck, get some seeds and go outside and go and guerrilla garden. If only for a short time. Shift your attention and your attitude. The office is too quiet for these loud ass smiles y'all bring. Seeing, Jovan giddy smiling, completely alone in her office basically. Do they think you're high? Dang, I missed it. Here it is again. Fucking bet. Here it is again, Zano. Healing the heart. It's a sick card. The beautiful geometric configuration depicted on this card, according to visionary physicist Nassam Haramein, is the hyperdimensional fractal geometry of space-time. This, right, like this. Like let me show you the black and white version. That is again the hyperdimensional fractal geometry of space-time. The matrix is a 3D Koch curve of vector equilibriums. I have absolutely no idea what that means. Let's ask GPT. Let's see. I feel like if anybody knows, Melita might. Maybe that's why she likes the card. Can you tell me what a 3D Koch curve of vector equilibriums is? It didn't spell Koch right. I might even say it incorrectly. It's Koch. A 3D Koch curve. Let's see. The 3D Koch curve of vector equilibriums is a geometric structure that combines elements of the Koch curve and vector equilibriums. Oh, wow! So much clarity. Let's continue reading. The Koch curve is a mathematical fractal named after the Swedish mathematician Helge von Koch. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering your name, beloved friend. It is constructed by iteratively replacing each line segment with a series of smaller line segments, creating a self-similar pattern with intricate detail. Self-similar patterns are fractals. A vector equilibrium, on the other hand, is a geometric arrangement of vectors in three-dimensional space that exhibit a state of equilibrium. It consists of a set of vectors of equal magnitude, distributed such that the sum of the vectors at any point is 0. The 3D Koch curve of vector equilibriums is formed by extending the concept of the Koch curve into 3 dimensions while maintaining the vector equilibrium property. Each line segment of the curve is replaced by a series of smaller line segments that form a 3-dimensional shape. The vectors at each point of the curve are arranged such that their sum remains 0, creating a state of equilibrium. The resulting structure exhibits self-similarity and complexity, similar to the Koch curve, but in 3-dimensional space. It represents a fascinating blend of fractal geometry and vector equilibrium principles. Visualizing and studying such a structure can provide insights into the intricate relationship between geometry, symmetry, and equilibrium in 3 dimensions. Yeah. I totally, of course, knew what all of those words mean. Yes. But fortunately, I don't have to because I can do this. Can you explain it to me like I'm 7 years old? Let's see. Let's see. It's going to give me more. Of course. Imagine you have a special drawing that starts with a straight line. Now, instead of keeping that line straight, we make it bumpy. We add little hills and valleys to it. And here's the fun part. Each time we make it bumpy, we also make it smaller. We do this over and over again, each time making the bump smaller and smaller. Now, let's imagine we take this bumpy line and give it a magical property. We want it to always be balanced, like a seesaw, right? Like a wave. That means that no matter how many bumps and valleys we add, the line should always be balanced in the end. Now, we take this bumpy and balanced line and bring it into the world of 3D. Instead of it just being a line, now it has, spatial dimension. Instead of just being flat, it has depth. It becomes like a squiggly rope floating in space. But here's the interesting part. Even though it's squiggly and bumpy, it still keeps its balance. The bumps and valleys are carefully arranged so that the forces on each point of the line cancel each other out, just like when you have the same weight on both sides of the seesaw. This is actually making sense. So the 3D Koch curve of vector equilibriums is a special shape that starts at the bumpy line and becomes a squiggly line. Balanced rope floating in space. Oh yes, and that one doesn't make any sense. It looks very cool and has a lot of intricate details to explore. It's like a magical puzzle that combines bumpy lines and balanced lines in the three-dimensional world. That was a lot. I might have lost some of you friends. I did, in fact. But let's actually continue reading what this card means. It is the crystal at the core of the earth. This geometry is intended to enhance healing the heart on personal, planetary, and multi-dimensional levels. Various places around our planet have the potential to bring you into alignment with healing energies. They may be revealed through cultural tradition, placements on the earth grid, or your own intuition. Sometimes these will be considered places of power or sacred sites. Particular locations hold potential energy by virtue of their historical and cultural importance, and as ideal places to offer prayers and to quicken intentions. Be advised to seek out the place that summons you and honor the spirit of place that resides there. Be confident that you will be called to the location that you are in tune with and your movement towards the wholeness and your mission in this lifetime. You may be surprised to find the place where you live holds great healing energy for you. As you relax and feel into the spirit of place you call home, tune into your surroundings and recognize how they help to restore and replenish you. It's trippy that I brought you friends into my room today. Like, this is what I get to see waking up in the mornings. It's kind of surreal, I'll admit. Psychedelic in nature, where I'm like, oh yeah, on my planet. And then I have my affirmations and my thingies in the background. Okay. How about that? Another stream done. I think we can play some kalimba before we're finishing up. I do know vaguely, yes, of course. So much love. I'll take this homework assignment. We'll sow some seeds, and I can put them in my pockets. Yeah, we're gonna canoe. Yeah. Need the picture to see the gifs. It'll be easy to understand. I can think so. Like a visual representation, especially if we're talking about curves and three-dimensional shapes and vectors. Like it's a little bit easier if we're gonna actually see them with our eyes instead of just hearing them, with like an explanation. Class assignment. Excited. Seed bundles. So much love. Everyone has some homework to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have some homemade paper full of native seeds. Even more bless. Guerrilla gardening by kayak. Throwing like seeds onto the like sides of the water, I'm imagining. Magical property. I mean, like it's trying to explain to me like I'm a 7-year-old. I probably shouldn't have said 7. That might have been a little bit young. I should have went like for like 13 or something. I was like cutting myself a little bit short. A slingshot, definitely mischievous. I mean, slingshots and seeds sound like fun time even. Is this Google or GPT you're asking? I was asking GPT, Bart Simpson style. I love this card more and more by each second. So much love. Florida man caught flinging bird seeds from watercraft, shouted obscenities, and fled authorities. Melty, this explanation is a lot. I know, I'm sorry, Joe Schmo. I had to kind of like melt into it. I was already embracing the crazy. So I was like, oh, well, I guess we're in. We wouldn't even call the cops for stuff like that down here. Yeah, especially with the other, Florida men raising the bar. It's like, is he stabbing people? No, not let him be. He's only throwing seeds at people. That's fine. That's fine. We have worse to deal with. We have alligators. No, I imagine Florida presents save that money for voting season to catch illegals at the polls. They would likely be throwing rocks at me and call me slurs from the 50s. Limba, yes, please. So much love. I wish I had arms long enough to hug all of you at once. If you can't hug all of us at once, hug yourself. That's all of us at once, right? All of us are this thing, this this human being, right? Sending you all so much lovins. Okay, Kalimba time. This is probably going to be very boosted. So I'm going to be very mindful with how much gain I add. I'm very sorry. I know I'm not supposed to whisper Joshmo and duck that. Suspect was also wearing what appears to be a gully suit while throwing the seeds. He was the seeds, stinking lovely friend. So super silly, mush and mush. Supporting your shimmering and shiny smiles. Soaring and synergizing with your spectacular skyrocketing spirit and seeking that satisfying serendipity. Finding it here with you. Thank you for finding it here with me. Oh, I'm doing art today. Super excited. Yeah, Sam, echoing. Thank you for creating things. Mush, 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 mush. Let's play some kalimba, shall we? 3 minutes. Starting now. Our stream done for the day. Having connected with beloved friends again, we get to remind ourselves that love is true, and I get to tell you that I appreciate you for joining me once again, for finding yourself in this space, even though there's so many other places to be, so many other potential possibilities. Thank you, friends, for choosing to be here with me. Melty, are you tapping into your whisper ASMR game? I'm trying not to. I was trying hard not to specifically. Sundress and a canoe pictures might be on your way to a Discord near you. Melty in a sexy voice. Let's take it down a notch. Let's bring down the energy into more. I'm making myself cringe. How are you doing this? There we go. Shan's message is here. Thank you for being exactly who you are. And thank you for being who you are with us as well, dear friend. I'm going to plant a flower today and honor Pepper Poppy's sacrifice in the yard of cleaning. Thank you, Dr. Ru, for sharing your heart with us. Thank you, Isha, for doing the same. My grandma used to have a room full of music boxes that none of the kids were allowed to be in, but she used to let me sit in there with her while she played them for me. The kalimba hits me deep, taking us back, bro. Like, it's so interesting to me, Joy Vive used to not like the kalimba sounds because it sounded like a music box slash jump, like, what's it called? Jack in a box, like something's gonna jump out at her. And even though that fractal, is shared with both of you, the way that it registers to you, is completely different. Same words, same sounds, but different, understanding and experience thereof. Planting baby strawberries to some kalimba. This is beautiful. So much love. Gonna plant some seeds today too, in solidarity. Thank you, friends. Thank you for loving this world as much as you do. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I truly love you all so very super duperist, extremely massively, monstrously, humongously, gargantuanly dearly, melting all of you oh so wonderfully, fantastically, remarkably, spectacularly, unbelievably, phenomenally, gorgeously, magically, friends. Gorgeously magical friends. As we love you, dear Shan. I'm seeing a lighthouse when I close my eyes. Thank you for guiding us, technically away from boarding or short, like running ashore, keeping us where we're supposed to be, reminding us love is true with every word that you say. Blessings to all of you friends. Had a fat bong rip for you, buddy. Thank you. Sam, thank you for living vicariously for all of us, sowing the seeds of love. This is the way. That's amazing. Planting baby seeds. Honor your sacrifice, brother. Love is true. Do it for the kids, Joe. It's not for me. It's for duckling. Ducklings everywhere. So much love. I love you, friends. So, so, so much. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. I bless you eternally. Your life is only going to get better and 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 better. There'll be difficulties, right? But you will be better at handling them. There will be moments where we feel like things are unfair, but you will be the anchor at which that fairness is measured. I bless you, dear friends. I thank you again for joining me in this space. Thank you for letting me use my words to influence you as well. Blessings. And until we do this once again, tomorrow, I love you. And I'll see you again soon. Bless you. Love you.